Hi everyone, Sunflower Spirit here, and I'm here to do the focus of the day. Today's focus is coping with change. So I'll draw a card for the focus, and then I'll draw two for two options. And keep in mind these are just two out of an infinite number of options. It's just to try to get you to be focused. All right, so I hope everyone's having a great day today. Happy Wednesday. So, what is our universal energies? What is our message of the day for the focus of overcoming or coping with change? So, we have the Queen of Swords. And then, what is option one for coping with change? We have the Four of Wands and the Justice card. And what is a second option for coping with change? We have the Four of Swords. Okay, so with the Queen of Swords, this is kind of like, so coping with change. It's kind of like using your intelligence to, being strong and determined, using your intelligence, using your inner wisdom to kind of guide you, and also being very discerning and decisive about the things and the people around you. So the Queen of Swords, she's a pretty experienced lady. She has a lot of life experience, and so she kind of uses her past experiences to, to really be that kind of assertive person who is okay with, finding clarity, and then once finding clarity, removing whatever she needs to remove from her life to, to have a more peaceful existence. So with the first, so I think this is about boundaries. She's really she puts boundaries in place, and so boundaries are kind of like um, when you, it's kind of like where you end and somebody else begins. So it's kind of like, for example, if there's somebody around you who really likes um, doing one activity, and they're always trying to get you to do that activity with them because they really like it and you hate it, having a good boundary would be, telling them, like, I really don't like doing this. I don't mind hanging out with you, but can can we do something different? Because I don't like doing this. It can also deal with your values, what your values are, what you're kind of like what you're willing to put up with, what you're not, what you, it's kind of like, being able to be you and not apologizing for it, not being able to have the values that you do and not apologizing, not having to explain yourself. It's just like allowing yourself to be who you are, and then however other people respond to that, it's just, having, knowing that, like, that's their deal. Like if they're gonna get mad at me because my values are that I don't like to do this or I don't like to say these things, then that's their problem. And so it kind of goes both ways. It's like recognizing, like, what's yours and what's other people's. And so with these two options here, we have the Four of Wands, which is about stability, commitment, good foundations in partnerships and relationships like marriage or, just a general partnership. We have the Justice card here too, which the Justice card is really about, finding equality and balance within your relationships, within your situations in life. And this is not only finding balance for yourself, but it's also taking a look at how you're contributing to the imbalance of the world around you. Of society. So it's kind of like looking at the bigger picture as well as looking just at your own life with justice. But it's trying to find equality and trying to see where you're contributing to inequalities in all areas of life. With the Four of Swords here, we have, this is once again, this is also about finding clarity, but this is kind of like, going within, like kind of taking the time to rest, taking the time to heal. Um, it's making sure that you're taking care of your energies and your needs, and it's really focusing on, kind of like that self-care of, recognizing that in order for you to function at your highest, best self, you're going to have to take these down times. There's going to be times when you have to take down times, and this is totally human. Everybody has to do this. So let's just clarify the Queen of Swords. We have the Queen of Wands. So with the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands here, the Queen of Swords will be your assertive, boundary setting type queen. She's very, she's okay with kind of like detaching herself from people or situations in a healthy way. And she recognizes when, people or situations aren't serving her the best. And so she's good at detaching. The Queen of Wands is more about, recognizing your personal power. She's very focused, she's very intuitive and very creative. So she uses her creativity and intuition to focus in on the power that she has. And so, this can be like with any aspect. So let's see, let's clarify this Four of Swords. We have the Moon. Okay, so the Moon is about, it can be about confusion or illusions. It can be about things that we don't know. It can also be about, maybe getting messages from our unconscious. So with the Moon here, with this, Four of Swords, it's like really trying to gain that clarity, trying to figure out, what it is, like first of all, what do we want? What will we put up with and what won't we put up with? And then second of all, it's, trying to take the time to heal, from, and, recognize that sometimes we don't always have the answers. We don't always know everything, and that's okay. And so yeah, I really see, with dealing with change, it's really about like you stepping into your power, knowing what you're capable of, knowing what you're, willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. And then that can help us. We can have, this solid foundation by balancing ourselves out and balancing out the world around us. Or we can, or, if it's just too much, it's kind of like going in internally, trying to heal, trying to find, clarity with the things that may not be known or the things that even we might have hidden, like in our subconscious. So, and then just for fun, we can see what's at the bottom of the deck. We have the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is about anxiety. It's about anxiety. It's about worry. It's kind of, so what I see this is like, this is difficult. It's scary and it's hard because when we have these boundaries and we tell people like what we're, kind of what our standards are, what our deal breakers are, what we're willing to put up and what we aren't willing to put up with, it can be scary because, you're really you're really saying, like, if you're not capable of this, like, I kind of, I'm not going to be able to talk to you anymore or hang out with you, or I'm not going to be able to have you in my life. And so that is scary because, this is about our relationships with other people. It's about our connections with other people, and um, it's scary to be, because that's being honest, that's being true, and that's like, ultimately really vulnerable. And so I think that's why we have the Nine of Swords here, but in order to, in order to change who you are, you have to be willing to set those kinds of standards for yourself, and then you have to be willing to communicate those kind of standards to yourself. And so yeah, it's definitely scary because this is something that, like, especially if you have, people in your life who aren't used to you um, communicating this kind of stuff, and then suddenly you're like, this doesn't work out for me. This isn't working. Um, People sometimes don't respond to that well, because a lot of times we have these people in our life because we're creatures of habit, and it's comfortable, and um these are the patterns that we have repeated over and over in our lives. And so when you start to change and you start to step up and stand up for yourself and say, no, this is, I won't put up with this anymore, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And it doesn't matter how considerate you are about it and how considerate you are in your speaking of it. People, yeah, sometimes they don't respond to that well, and that's scary because potentially, you could lose relationships. But I just have to ask you, if it was like that in the first place, are those the people that you really want around you? So, anyway, guys, hopefully this was helpful. Thank you for stopping by today. I hope you have a fabulous Wednesday, and I will talk to you guys later.